My predecessor had actually, during this particular period, given a waiver as well. So when the waiver was issued, I expected that a lot of people came in to try and clear. So the figures went high the previous year, basically. So for the next year, it dropped. When the waiver was issued, people usually end up paying. So the previous year for this one, there was a waiver that had actually been issued. And secondly, Chair, I have sought guidance as well from the ones who are in office. It was only important that I look for institutional memory to be able to try and figure out what transpired at this particular moment. And I'm informed that the county government decided not to go on an aggressive approach during the COVID period as well in collecting and demanding for land rates. But one of the reasons why the previous year was high was because of the fact that there was a waiver that had been issued. And when a waiver is issued on penalties, a lot of people end up complying. We did not increase revenue through increasing taxes. I just want to make it clear. We reduced the amount of money that PSVs are meant to pay. We reduced the single business permits that those small shops are actually meant to pay. And all we did is we tightened loopholes that I saw were there, and not only that, we also tried and give some form of, take this all the way up to downwards. We have increased our on-source revenue by about 15%. And my intent is to increase this on-source revenue even further. Do I believe that it is possible? I strongly believe that it is possible. And I strongly believe it is possible because the people of Mombasa, Chair, have been very supportive. Because people don't mind doing that as long as they see what it is when you come up with all the programs that later on I will be able to explain. There is currently a bill before the Senate. This is County Revenue Raising Measures Bill that is before the Senate. I want to give just a precaution to the senators on a constitutionality on that particular bill. The Constitution is very clear that the county assemblies are meant to be the ones to approve all these things. Today, this bill that has been proposed, and it is at the Senate, talks about coming up with a committee, and the committee will have someone from Treasury, a committee will have someone from the Council of Governors, the committee will have someone from Attorney General's office, and Commission for Revenue Allocation. And they're saying that for a county government, the CEC in charge, before you even contemplate on saying that you want to charge, you have to have thought of that idea 10 months prior. 10 months prior, Chair. And I'm using this particular platform to plead with senators as well, to look at this whole thing in a holistic way. So if I have an idea now, I have to wait for 10 months, not to get an approval, but to even consider being given a hearing by that particular committee. We stand a threat of county governments to be converted into departments of government. When we came in, Chair, there was quite a number of digitalization that had been done. That means payment that were being done through platforms. We had quite a number of payments that were still not being done through payments, through the platform, areas like the CES and some other. Right now, as we are speaking, Mombasa has gone digital up to 99.99%. That 0.01% is only one that I have requested the Mombasa Revenue Service, which is yet to be enforced, but I've requested the team that is there, and they are right now working with the banks, and that is the issue of hawking. There is a law in Mombasa that allows for specific areas for hawkers, and those hawkers are paying a certain amount on a daily basis for the stipulated areas. So we are working with financial institutions on how we can also convert that hawking fee, which is about 50 shillings, but how we can also convert that into a cashless system.
To Coast General Hospital have been used for the right purpose. Short of asking for a special audit, I think we need to focus now in the current audit cycle. The executive must unbundle the expenditure at Coast General. The route the governor has taken is supported by law. County corporations are provided for under the County Governments Act, so you will be safe. Facility improvement funds are also supported under the PFM. I think you can set up a fund, but the process is clearly defined. Governor, you must fast track this because, as my colleagues have said, we have had this thing in Mombasa every year. Every year we come for an audit report. We are told that the law has been put in place and it is in compliance with the Constitution and other statutory instruments that exist.
I give a commitment, Chair.
Unfortunately, if we are relying on Mombasa County Health Act, this, as a Senate, we see the inconsistency and the irregularity of its provisions. And if we encourage counties to take this route, it means that there will be expenditure that will never be subject to control, and that's why we have a control of budget. You know, when you make this kind of exclusions, it means that it becomes like pocket money for the people running those institutions, and public resources are supposed to be controlled. We will give you the benefit also of being the new sheriff in town, and we will give you time, probably again to the end of the first quarter of the next financial year. So there are two things that we'll be updating the Senate on. One is on pending bills. Two is on measures to regularize the operations of health facilities. And I hope that that can put pressure on the Assembly to consider your FIF and to consider your corporation's establishment at Coast General Hospital. I am sure that the things that are right in Mombasa are far much more than what we have discussed in the 3 hours. And so let the message not go out that nothing good has come out of this conversation. This conversation was based on an audit report of the few things that were not going right in Mombasa County. And the Senate will always support, the Senate will always be at hand. I think the people of Mombasa, you are lucky that your governor understands the Public Finance Management Act and PFM procedures. And Governor, I know it is difficult for a person who has been chairing a similar committee to be on the other side. And now you feel the way others felt when they came before you. And I hope that even in the process, there was one or two things that you could learn from our collective experience as senators. We have the vantage position that we have seen 47 county governments, 47 county assemblies, and 47 county corporations, and 47 mortgage and loan funds. And so the result of that, we can pick what works where and share that information and experience with you. I think the chair is the one to determine who's out of order and who's in order. But in this case, Senator Faki is completely proceed.
Chair, I think I am not happy with the explanation. Because if you look at health, there is a matter touching on health here. And that they are directors who could be ladies. So what we are looking for, he has actually answered. In future, we want also gender balance representation. And I hope next time if it appears before Senate without gender balance, we might not proceed. I fear for you. Thank you.
Let me bring this matter to a conclusion. They were still able to collect $1 billion, and then suddenly it dropped to 500 million. Can you get 17, 18?
Just a moment, we can get it through our...
I just wanted to ask the governor, the time frame that you are looking at to resolve these issues, because it's really very important for you to fast track the process. So that
farming on his land to start maybe paying some rates, or someone was running a shop to pay 3,000% more. So I think there's a broader conversation that we can take to the departmental committee.
The statement of receipts and payments reflects an amount of pensions 660.8 million in respect of transfers to other government entities.
And when we got sworn in, there was pay-as-you-earn of 365 million in arrears that I cleared in totality. There was an amount that had not been paid by employees for pay-as-you-earn, and if I'm not mistaken, it was for, Chair, you'll have to agree with.
Meaning it is likely to still attract penalties and interest.
Governor, in your response, you say that you have paid everything.
Yes, Chair, as it stands right now, and 5 million shillings, which I'm also clearing. Hopefully, when I clear the salary for the month of July, I will be also clearing that 505 million that I have done, and we have been able to fix this. Right now, we are paying everything at a go, and there's legislation that is like when they're remitting to the county governments equitable share. So what they do is they say that the amount of money that carry has to be paid, courtesy of pay-as-you-earn, retention money, and everything else is this amount. So what they're planning to do is they will be deducting it.
I think the regulation that was read clearly indicates what should be done under the law. And those ones are easy to deal with. We must hold the officers